Hey, Pastor Cliff here. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about adultery, and I want to use Andy Byron's unfortunate compromising moment to talk about adultery. Here we go. A Coldplay concert, a camera, a CEO, and a compromising moment that cost Andy Byron his job and could cost him even more. This is not just a scandal, it is a warning to us, because as the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 6 verses 32 to 33, he who commits adultery lacks sense. He who does it destroys himself. He will get wounds and dishonor, and his disgrace will not be wiped away. Andy Byron may have been enjoying just a concert, but when that camera caught him in a questionable embrace with his HR director, the music stopped. In less than 24 hours, he stepped down as CEO. His reputation took a hit, and his marriage and family will never be the same. That's what sin does. It doesn't just find you out, it undoes you. Luke chapter 12 verse 2 to 3 says, "There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed. What you have whispered in the ear will be proclaimed from the rooftops." And so I want you to realize that in this digital age, rooftops are global. Exposure isn't a matter of if, it is about when. Let's be clear. Cheating isn't an accident. It's a series of decisions. You let the flirtation linger. You reply to a text too eagerly. You choose to meet up. You justify it, and finally, you fall or you fail. For your information, many partners that cheat aren't necessarily frustrated about anything in their marriages or relationships. To them, infidelity is not necessarily a sign of something missing in the marriage. Many people who have affairs aren't chronic philanderers. Most actually are happy in their marriages and wouldn't trade their partners for no one. However, their biggest challenge is to manage the paradox of a human need for security, that is, stability, reliability, and predictability, versus the other human need for adventure, which involves curiosity, mystery, and excitement of risky behavior. In fact, James chapter 1 verse 14 to 15 says this: "Each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. After desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin." So you just don't fall into adultery. You literally walk into it, step by step and choice by choice. The issue is Byron's unquenchable lust, the inability to self-govern and manage his fleshly desires, as well as his lack of maturity, to consciously commit to one person faithfully while remaining self-controlled. All opportunity does is to bring out what already is in someone, and that is what happened. There was an opportunity, and so that kind of behavior was coming out of him. So he made a choice, and that is what we need to look at, that these are things that involve choices. So when someone makes a choice to be faithful to their partner, opportunities will come, but they will never cheat on them. Cheating is a choice. So cheating doesn't begin in the bedroom. It starts in the boardroom, the break room, the inbox, the DM. These are the danger zones. So let me just go through some of the places where you need to be alert so that you don't fall into that sin. So number one, we have the workplace and church. I want to put them together because I'm a church guy. I spend most of my time in the church, and so I believe that is one of the places where you can have a challenge. So you find that we spend most of our, the hours that we are awake at work or at church. So we dress nicely, we freshen up, and we are always on our good behavior, since that's a contained environment where naturally you'll find yourself being at your best. And again, because you're being at your best, remember the other people are also being at their best. So these are the person, these are the people coming into that space, and you're in that one contained space. So you're sharing creative energy, goals, passion about projects, and all these other things that can bring out some interest because of course of admiration. And you see, throw in frequent business trips and times that people spend together, then you see now complications come in. You have things like one night stands, some flirtation that now blow up into full affairs. Again, the church also, just like another workplace, or just as a place of fellowship, again, can create a form of intimacy, because there are members who may work together, there are members who may be spending a lot of time together, and so as they do that, they may start to open about their emotional needs, their emotional, their marriage problems, looking for comfort, and without realizing that somebody else can take advantage of that, and that vulnerability, and that other person can still develop feelings, so that at the end of the day, then we have a situation. So when people even open up spiritually, a spiritual space allows people to open up spiritually. When people open up spiritually, again, it brings out that complication, because intimacy develops, and intimacy becomes inevitable between those two people when they pray together. There was a time we had issues to do with the prayer partners, and all that vibe, and all that trend that was there at the time. So again, because we have to pray about issues, we share those intimate issues to pray about, and as we share them, we are opening up people to our world, to our spaces. And so vulnerability, when it comes in, then other things can develop, feelings can develop, a relationship can be able to develop from that point of view. And so especially when you are low, and the other person is bringing in hope, bringing in wisdom, bringing in clarity, optimism, and all these things, then we can realize that it creates the ground where now a romantic situation can be able to develop. So that's the church, that's the workplace. It has all the ingredients to create sparks of romance. Let's look at the second place. This is important because anybody can find themselves in such a situation. So we have the gym, and the gym also gives people an opportunity for flirting. We are playful, and then flirting comes in, and then within no time it may develop into something. It also creates that playfulness. You can have some jokes in it, and that again brings about complication. And remember, when you are in the gym, endorphins, those are biological things, are rushing in the body, and then because we are dressed in those gym clothes, I know how they are, they now bring attention to our bodies because we are wearing tight clothes and all that. And so it's like you're half naked, so your body shape, your body is on full display. And so you have this scenario where now physical attraction can be able to take place just because of somebody looking good. And so that person again is available, because that's a routine. When you're going to the gym, you go to the gym time and time again, so it becomes a routine. There's that availability, there's that access, because this person is available. So again, the gym is really a place where you can flirt so much without really putting a lot of effort into it. So it creates a danger zone, as far as infidelity is concerned. Again, just to add on to that, we have we can talk about unfiltered emotional sharing out of marriage. When you share the things about your marriage without filter to those people that are outside and they are the opposite gender, then you can you can find yourself in a situation. Sometimes I look at it and I see that when something is developing, somebody can come to you and say, I want to share with you something, and it's tricky. It's a tricky thing that I want to share with you. And when they tell you that, now you realize that there could be something that they're hesitating to talk about, and that's something that can bring challenge. And so when you now encourage that person to share those things, you realize that they may put you in a situation where they're sharing unfiltered things, and those unfiltered things then open up the opportunity for infidelity to take place. And you see, sometimes somebody can tell you, promise me, but if I tell you this, you're not gonna get mad. And so when you say, I promise I'm not gonna get mad, they get that courage and that opportunity to tell you, hey, I have a crush on you, I love you, and all these things. And then you just find yourself in a situation. Again, just to add on to those two places, you have a situation where you think that you are not capable or you're strong enough, you may not do it. It may not apply, because you may find yourself falling into a situation. In fact, Paul mentions a scripture where he says that don't think too highly of yourself, because when you do that, you may just be able to fall very, very easily. And then there's also the scenario where you reconnect with your ex. So you have somebody that you had feelings for, and for whatever reason you broke it off, and now you have a scenario where you are reconnecting with them. And so when you reconnect with them, that again brings in that opportunity, that scenario where again infidelity can come in. Let me also talk about something else before I move into the next thing. Again, when people, because I'm talking about the workplace, I'm talking about the gym and such kind of activities, you could have what we call shared passion, where you have something that you're doing together, and all of you, it's a passion for the two of you. So that thing may make you spend a lot of time together, and as you spend a lot of time together, you may again find yourself in such a situation, because that is an opportunity. So anytime you are in a situation where people have joined forces to work towards something, it is an environment just like work, just like church, because church, we are all united for an objective. And so you may find yourself in a situation. So number 3, let me move to another one. Let's talk about social media. So social media has opened up better ways of texting. So we might have late night or off hours texting. You have DMs, secret DMs and all that. So social media again is just like the workplace. We show up in our best possible self. People don't post their spouses, people don't post their children, people don't post their problems most of the time. And you find that we post the best things, and those best things attract others. And then because of that misrepresentation, we find that a situation can come in. So it opens up for excess crashes, all these things, because you can DM somebody directly. You don't need to go through any other person, and it doesn't take much to move things to the next level. Again, browsing inappropriate content online can push you towards that direction of infidelity. And number 4, let me talk about travel. I'm talking about a cab, a bus, a train, a plane. When you're traveling with someone you're attracted to, and there is no one else who knows the two of you or something like that, then that can also become a challenge. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 says this: above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That is essentially what we need to do, to make sure that our hearts, we guard our hearts, and we exercise that self-control, because it is a gift of the Spirit. So this is not about Andy Byron. It's about you and me. Any of us. We all face temptation. In fact, Paul says there is no temptation that has come to you that is uncommon to other men, even if it overtakes you. But even in the face of temptation, we have a choice. That is the powerful thing. We choose to fall into temptation. We choose to cheat. Those are choices that we make. So we can also make a choice to guard our hearts, to make sure our boundaries, we respect our boundaries and uphold them at all times. We can choose to honor our spouses, and we can choose to fear God. You know, when you just think about God, when you remember where God has got you from, it will keep you from going down that direction. So again, sometimes we pay attention to what we think we are missing out on, rather than being fully invested in what we already have. And that's why Paul talks about contentment with godliness, that, you know, when you focus on what you have, then you have no room to focus on what is at your neighbors. And so again, we shouldn't allow, unresolved frustrations with our spouses to go unresolved. That is something that can create ground for infidelity. When I look at the challenges that couples face, there are many, and sexual infidelity is among the top 4. So when it comes to the challenges that they face, and I'm going to do a video about that, infidelity is on the top 4 list. But I like what Hebrews chapter 13 verse 4 says: let marriage be held in honor among all. Let the marriage bed be undefiled. It doesn't mean only the bedroom, no. It means the marriage. Let the marriage be held in honor. Do not dishonor it among all. So honor the people that are married. Honor your spouse. There are those people who are single and they're just looking for married people. You are sinning. That is not the way to go about it. Let the marriage bed be undefiled. Respect that institution that God, created. So I want to close by saying, don't destroy your life over a few stolen moments. The consequences are real and eternal. Walk in the light, stay faithful, and when in doubt, run and not flat. So thank you for watching. Thank you for keeping it locked up to this point. God bless you, God keep you, and God enable you to exercise self-control. I'm gonna see you in the next one.